The promising drivers of NASCAR's Xfinity Series take their final crack at the dash for cash.
We've got a bunch of young cats out there, and they're on go. You never know who's going to step up.
While the $1 million might be off the table, it's still a check that would be mighty nice to cash.
And the man that wins $100,000 today, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Hemrick.
But today's task will be quite monstrous, because Miles is staring him down. So fire up the engine and take your crack at Dover, right here on FS1.
Monsters come in all different shapes and sizes. Some live in the water or under the bed, and some only come out at night. Today, the only monster that Xfinity Series drivers will be thinking about is the one that lurks underneath their race car. So there are no monsters inside our home, the Hollywood Hotel, located just on the front stretch here at Dover. I'm Shannon Spake alongside Larry McReynolds and two-time Dover Xfinity Series winner, Mr. Michael Waltrip. Okay, guys, so what's so monstrous about this place?
Boo!
Oh.
So, well, I mean, it is a very fast 1 mile racetrack, and you spend about 2/3 of the lap in the corners. Not only is it a fast racetrack, it is a very fast race, a short race. Only 200 laps, 200 miles. You better be up on that gas and that throttle and that steering wheel from the drop of the green flag.
You know what scares me?
What?
I look in my mirror, and there's no spoiler back there. You talk about speed. We're going to go diving off in the corners at over 170 miles an hour. That spoiler on your back deck, it's your buddy, and we've cut it off here. That's the challenge at Dover. The way you dive off the straightaways into the corner, you want to get loose. You don't have anything to hang on to. This is going to be a fun race. We've seen slips and slides. We've even seen spins leading up to the race today. We'll see what happens when they throw the green.
Are you scared?
Not yet.
All right. Well, boo at home. Let's take a look at some headlines. We start today with Michael Waltrip, a cap, and a gown. Take a look. Yesterday was high school graduation day for Truck Series driver Kaz Grala. I feel old. And it was a second place finish for the 18-year-old. Defending champ and points leader Johnny Sauter won the race, his first of the season. And hey, nothing surprises Kyle Busch, so he knew this was going to happen. His first pole in 28 races and his first at Dover. He's going to share the front row with Martin Truex Jr. And speaking of Kyle's, just a short time ago, Kyle Larson won the pole for this race. Larson has already won 2 races this season, but he's never won here at Dover, and he's going to share the front row with Ryan Blaney. Okay, so the last 4 Xfinity races have been won by non-Cup regulars here at Dover. Guys, tell me why or why not that trend will continue today.
I just love that. Our Xfinity stars have stepped up to the Monster Energy drivers and turned them away for 2 straight years. You know what that means, Larry McReynolds? If you're a young, aspiring Xfinity star, you want to get the Cup, what do you need to do in Dover? Just win, baby. Put that thing in victory lane. And I think there's cars out there today that can do just that. I love where Cole Custer's at. Faster every weekend. William Byron's been in a bit of a mini slump. He can pop out of that today. So I think it continues.
Well, they are going to have to put their work clothes on, because right now when I look at Kyle Larson, I look at Ryan Blaney, I think right now they are the class of the field. Think about Ryan Blaney. 5 starts this year between the 12 and the 22, the win at Charlotte, 4 top 2 finishes. His worst finish so far is 5th. I think it's between he and Kyle Larson if you're going to win this race.
And the first row and the second row to start this race today, all Cup guys. So they definitely have their work
I'm
cut
for
out
the
them.
underdogs.
Underdog. So 9 years ago, 1 week after his 18th birthday, Joey Logano made his very first NASCAR start ever right here at Dover. He finished 6th, and when he climbed out of the car, he said, quote, "A 6th place finish ain't much in my book." Well, hopefully he's not as hard on the young drivers today, as he's going to join the guys in the booth, and he's with Adam Alexander.
Shannon, I would say this place is difficult, but Joey Logano, who's going to join us in the booth, won 4 in a row here. How tough is Dover International Speedway?
It's tough, believe me. This is one of the toughest tracks to go to. You got to be on your game all the time. Little mistakes turn into big mistakes really quick because there's not much room around the racetrack.
That's why they call it the Monster Mile. And in 2017, we've kind of had a 4-headed monster in the Xfinity Series. Let's talk Kyle Larson. 2 wins. He's led 264 laps. laps. For Eric Jones, a pair of victories, 209 laps out front. And then there's Ryan Blaney, only one win, 3 runner-up finishes. He has 226 laps led. And the best of the bunch, Justin Allgaier, that win at Phoenix, he's led a career high, 273 laps. And I'm thinking maybe it should be a 5-headed monster because you have a win and you've been out front a bunch too.
Well, I appreciate that, but we won't be leading any laps or winning any races today. I'll be up in the booth having fun with you.
All right, we'll see you there, Shannon.
Okay, so I look at a guy like Joey, 4 consecutive wins. And then the Cup side, you look at a guy like Jimmy Johnson, who's 10 wins at this track. How do guys like that figure this place out?
As soon as you show up, you're looking forward to getting here. You've heard all the horror stories about this monster, how tough it is. You got to want it. You got to want to challenge those high banks. You got to like your car hanging out a little bit loose in the corner. Those guys all have that in common, and I think that's, Larry, why they're successful here.
But I think we have a few racetracks that are like this. That driver is looking for a feel. And as the crew chief, yeah, I'm always looking at my stopwatch. Ultimately, that's what you're always racing. But Chad Knaus knows what Jimmy Johnson wants to feel here at Dover. A crew chief for Joey Logano knows the feel he's looking for. Yeah, you're still looking at the stopwatch, but the biggest thing, you know when that driver has that feel, you're going to be tough to deal with on race day.
Team effort here at a track like Dover, driver and crew chief, and don't forget those guys that go over the wall as well. So coming up, we're going to hear from Justin Allgaier about his chances to once again do the dash and cash. There he is. He's won $200,000 this season. Can he do it again? And in this week's episode of Where's Wallace, Kenny is going to tackle the Monster Mile as NASCAR Race Day continues from Dover.
Big opportunity for a driver to win $100,000 in the Dash for Cash. Justin Allgaier back to victory lane, a winner at Phoenix.
That's our money man right there, Justin Allgaier.
And Daniel Hemrick wins the $100,000. Allgaier is going to win the Dash for Cash.
So there they are, the 2 drivers that are just a little bit richer this season. And remember, 2 Dash for Cash wins is the same as a regular season victory when it comes to playoff eligibility. So Daniel Hemrick could essentially lock himself into the postseason today if he is able to win the Dash for Cash. Something Justin Allgaier has already done, which has locked himself into the playoff. But he is hungry for another win, and he's with Chris Neville.
And definitely hungry for some more money. Justin, you snapped up 2 of those bonus checks already. Trying to get the 3rd today, but you're starting a little bit further back. You're going to have to be more aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the atmosphere here at Dover kind of calls to be a little bit more aggressive. What Xfinity and Comcast do for our sport, this Dash for Cash, so much fun to be able to win 3 of the last 4 and 2 this year. I told Daniel I was going to be upset if we win today and I didn't win Bristol, but he said he was going to be upset if I won here and he didn't win it. So definitely a lot of fun. But we've got a really good Cessna Chevrolet. Really proud of the guys and the work that they put in. It's going to be a tough one, but I think as long as we guess right for the weather conditions, it'll be a good day.
Yeah, also that line, that racing line, seems to be widening a little bit. We can see multiple grooves out there.
Man, I hope so. That's, in the Cup race here, it always seems to move a lot farther than the Xfinity Series race. So I'm pumped about that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun if we can get up and get to that top lane. So we'll see what happens. We got a lot of folks from Northeastern Supply here that are hanging out watching. So we'd love to go to victory lane for all of our partners at Junior Motorsports, and I feel like we got the car to do it today.
Thanks, Justin. Shannon?
Okay, so we're going to play off some things that Justin just said in this interview. The racing line, what do you think when he says that about this race, Michael?
When I was watching the truck race last night, I was so excited about what I was seeing. We saw guys, Parker Kligerman, go way up high and make some passes. It continued throughout the race. And now Larry McReynolds, with all the Monster Energy practice we've seen today, this race this afternoon is going to be very interesting. We've typically seen cars be successful by hugging the bottom of this racetrack. But I think there's an outside groove, and I think those drivers realize that. And think about this. We talk about the temperatures being different, and Allgaier said they guessed on the setup. If you miss the setup a little bit down low, you better go up high and hunt a new one.
Well, I think the X factor is how warm it was yesterday during their 2 practices, and the sun was beating down on this 1-mile racetrack. It is very cloudy. It's very overcast, and we saw it in qualifying. We almost set a new track record in qualifying earlier with Kyle Larson sitting on the pole. We saw it in the 2 Monster Energy Cup Series practice. This track has a ton of grip. It has a ton of speed. It's almost like conditions are perfect right now.
And did I mention that spoiler's little on the back? We got to hang on to her.
You did.
And it's a monster. So 41 points behind of Elliott Sadler. That's where Justin Allgaier was when we left Richmond 2 races ago. Now he's just 6 behind. We could essentially see him take over the points lead here today. And that is because Why, Michael?
The stage points. You know, you can have a big day and gain points big time on the leader. And I think that's what's so fun about stage racing. Not only do you get those all-important playoff points if you win a stage, but you can pile up the regular season points as well and overcome a big deficit. Overcome a couple of bad races, maybe have a crash, you're breaking engine. You can put that in your rearview mirror.
Yeah, remember Justin Allgaier and that 7 team, that's a team that started the season off with 2 30th place finishes. But because of those 75 stage points, they pulled themselves within 6 points of Elliott Sadler.
And this is right here what we were talking about, the Justin Allgaier just a couple of points behind his teammate Elliott Sadler for that points lead. And I mean, I think the playoff points, the stage points, the victories, but what I will go back to in terms of Justin Allgaier is when he won that second Dash for Cash race, $100,000, and he came up here and he sat on this set and he was mad. Why? Because he didn't get the victory.
Well, that's something Junior Motorsports need to do. They need to get to victory lane more frequently.
And Elliott Sadler's got a really fast car today, so I think they're going to have a great chance to do that.
Certainly Sadler looking for his first victory of the season. Coming up, Dave Elenz worked with 14 different drivers before this season. He's going to sit down with Larry to discuss his jagged path to the top of the number 9 pit box. Straight ahead on FS1. So fans at Dover this weekend can check out Xfinity's activation and see how Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience NASCAR with live race stats, driver information, and standings right on your TV. Check it out. All right, let's check this out. We're going to go open mic, see who we can find behind the stage. We'll start with one Ryan Blaney.
He would love to go back-to-back after that win at Charlotte last week. Remember, that was in the 12 car. This week he's in the 22 car. It's been a long time since they've been to victory lane.
He had to make an extra run in that first qualifying session to even be up front, but he did just that. This is a guy to keep your eye on today. Won this run here last fall in Dover. He's a fast guy. His Toyota is running well. Daniel Suarez could win again today.
Yeah, he's actually fast in both series.
Certainly could. It's been a great season for Daniel Suarez. Eric Jones there. He's starting up front in this race today.
Yeah, he won this race a year ago. Seems like ever since he first came to Dover, it's just one of those tracks he's really embraced and really enjoys racing on.
Catching up with Ty Norris there. There's the pole sitter catching up with young racer Brennan Poole. Kyle Larson. If you look at any of the facts, Shannon, you're going to say Kyle Larson wins this race. His 10-lap average is best, 15-lap average is best. The car is very fast, but man, there's stages and there's going to be strategies these crew chiefs use because they know that's the fastest car. They got to do something different than him in order to beat him.
Remember, the stages are 60, 60, and 80 here today. There's Ty Dillon. Brother Austin won the 600 last week, and Ty looking to get it done here in the Xfinity Series.
He's still looking for his first top 5 finish of 2017.
He worked in the radio booth yesterday calling the action in the truck race.
And there's William Byron. He's the young junior motorsports driver. He has had a couple of tough weeks looking to rebound here today at Dover. Okay, so Larry, you know how they say behind every great man is a great woman?
Is that what they say?
You all right there? You need some water? Okay.
Y'all on this one.
Well, behind every successful driver is his crew chief, and such is the case with 19-year-old William Byron.
Yeah, Dave Elenz, his first 2 years as a crew chief, he almost had a different driver every single week. But for 2017, he was paired with a raw rookie, 19-year-old William Byron, and recently he sat down and told me about working with just one driver. Dave, you were born and raised in Gaylord, Michigan, and you went to Clemson University. So how did you get into racing?
Our family's always been a fan of racing, you know, any form that we've been involved in, and we liked NASCAR growing up. And Clemson had a motorsports program at the time, and I saw that as a path to get into racing down here in North Carolina.
In 2012, you joined Hendrick Motorsports as an engineer for the 88 team. They moved you over to the 48 team the next year, 2013. You got to stand on that championship stage at Homestead with Jimmy. How overwhelming is this for this guy from Gaylord, Michigan?
It's very overwhelming. Like, I haven't had that success in my career. Just them watching me be overwhelmed with joy was kind of exciting.
We're starting to see this a lot, Dave, where an engineer on the Cup team
makes a move to the Xfinity Series and becomes a crew chief. And that's what happened to you here a few years ago, coming to Junior Motorsports. After 1 year of working with 5 different drivers, 1 year of working with 9 different drivers, did you have to sometimes think, who's actually in the car this week?
Yeah, it definitely made setting the cars up a lot different than what I have to do this year. But having some success with the veterans gave me the confidence to know that I can do my job right away and help some of the younger guys along the way.
We had watched William Byron get better and better.
You came out of the box this year consistent. Then you get to Phoenix.
Make sure we're there at the end. Try to get a win out of this thing. Yeah, man, we'll be right there.
You sit on the pole and you get the first top 5 finish. I know it wasn't a win, but that had to feel like a pretty successful weekend.
You know, I think the disappointing part for us is we expected to win that race. So it's tough to manage your expectations sometimes, but that was a very good day for us and we were pleased, but you still want a little bit more.
Engineering Cup, Xfinity Series crew chief, and then eventually a Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series crew chief. Is that where Dave Elenz wants to get?
That is my expectation. That's what I want to do. Hopefully, at some point down the line, the opportunity would present itself.
And there he is. That was a great sit down.
It was. You know, I really had never had that much of a conversation with Dave before, so it was really good to get to know him.
You know what I think is interesting, Larry? That's a perfect match. You look at Dave Elenz with his engineering background and where he's at in his career. Bring in William Byron, the young teenager from North Carolina who learned how to race on a computer, online racing, and he's progressed so quickly up to the Xfinity Series and now has a chance to compete for a championship. I love that combo.
No, I think it's working well.
It absolutely is, because Junior Motorsports, they hold the first, second, and third spot in the points. But Charlotte, quite a struggle for that team. It ended a streak of 60 straight races with at least one of the Junior Motorsports cars in the top 10. But guys, let's face it, it's not about top 10s, it's not about leading laps. It's about getting wins for this team.
Yeah, I mean, every week, Ryan Pemberton, Vice President of Competition over there, I worked with Ryan at Robert Yates Racing back in the early 90s. I kind of go and we chat a little bit. And he said, you know, we're happy with the consistency. We're happy with where we have all 4 drivers in points, but we need to win more races. They know ultimately we get to the playoffs, that consistency is not going to pay that big of a dividend. You have to find victory lane, and he knows it.
And I think they're all going to turn to Elliott Sadler and have him help lead them to victory lane. The veteran knows what he's talking about when he talks about his car.
All right, it's all about veterans, and you're a veteran calling races, so we're going to let you go upstairs to call this race.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go to commercial break, and one guy is over 40 feet tall. The other never stops talking. Doesn't seem like a fair fight, right? It's a modern-day David and Goliath. Kenny takes on Miles. Next. So I believe it's probably the only track with an actual monster outside of the racetrack. Miles the Monster was unveiled in 2008. He is 46 feet tall, and the names of all of the Dover winners are on plaques that surround the base of the monster. Kenny is taking on Miles in today's Where's Wallace?
Have you ever wondered where racetracks get their nicknames? Bristol, the last great Coliseum. Martinsville, the Paperclip. Dover Speedway, the Monster Mile. Well, let me take you inside this racetrack and show you what makes it such a beast. First things first, turn 2, no room for error. It's like a hallway. Hit the outside wall, boom, 6 feet off the track, bam, you're in the inside wall. Turn 3, check out this elevation drop. It's like coming off of Mount Everest. You dive into the corner, and if you don't do it right, you end up like Joey Logano, barrel rolling. And finally, it's time to make a pit stop, but check this out. You're in the middle of turns 3 and 4. You have to dive into pit road. Take a look at what happened to Matt Kenseth. Back it out, back it out. So there it is. If these drivers aren't careful, they'll get snatched up by Miles, just like me. Help! Help! Can anybody get me down? Get me down!
I think we should just leave him up there.
Don't tell anybody. We told them to seal and lock the door up there, so Kenny may still be up there.
But that puts that in perspective. That is a full-size race car up there in Miles the Monster's hand.
Full size. Okay, so you tried to scare me with your little boo at the start of the show. So we thought we would put your monster trivia, I guess your monster knowledge, to the test. So we want you to identify some of these famous monsters. We're going to start with this one.
Fenway Park, the
Yes,
Green Monster.
The Green Monster. Good job. All right, we'll throw these to the side.
It's from Frozen. Sully?
Wrong movie, right name.
Okay, Sully.
Okay, so it's from Monsters, Inc., and it's Sully. Do you know the little guy?
The one-eyed monster.
The one-eyed monster. It's Mike Wazowski. Mike Wazowski.
Yeah,
My kids love that
known
movie.
that one.
Okay, here.
Mom,
white. Bright light, bright light.
Still got me.
Okay, it's Stripe from Gremlins. Did you ever see Gremlins?
I did not.
Okay.
The last movie I went to see was Flashdance, just for the record.
You are kidding me. All right, we do not have Jennifer Beal or whatever her name is as a monster, but okay, how about this?
The Monster Energy Girl.
You knew that.
I did knew that.
Yeah, we knew that one. All right.
Frankenstein, you got him sideways, but it's all right.
It's not Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
It's Herman Munster.
Oh.
But yes,
Herman
yes,
Munster.
yes, Frankenstein, right? But it's Herman Munster.
Okay.
You remember that show?
I do. The Monster.
Okay, how about this one?
Freddy Krueger.
There you go.
I actually played him one time on Halloween.
You did?
I did.
This is the one that scared me right here. I could not watch these movies.
Would.
Okay, so we've got two more. Ready?
Are
you kidding me?
I know he likes cookies. He's eating a cookie. Oh. Yeah.
Anyone at home understand this?
Cookie Monster.
Thank you. Phone a friend. Okay, and then finally we have this. Kentucky Wildcat fans will remember this one.
Oh.
Okay, it's the Monstars from Space Jam.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's it. Good job, though. Cookie Monster. All right, remember, next week, 1 week from today, it's a driver invasion. Danica Patrick and Denny Hamlin are going to be right here, and every race broadcast position will be occupied by a current Cup driver. So it's going to be a lot of fun at Pocono. So we've had 8 different winners this season. Could we see another one today? It won't be the Cookie Monster, but who will tame the monster? Let's go ahead and head trackside to kick things off.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Dover Air Force Base Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Dover Air Force Base Chaplain Captain Michael Carollo offers today's invocation.
Gracious God, we come before you with hearts of gratitude. We're thankful for your love and presence. We're thankful for the freedoms we enjoy in our great nation. We're thankful for our families and friends. And Lord, we're thankful for NASCAR. As these drivers fly around this track, we pray for their protection. We also pray for our pit crews, officials, first responders, and the fans. Lord, keep us safe as we experience the race. In your holy and matchless name we pray. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome country music artist Brandon Ray.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
200 miles on this 1 mile track, and when that checkered flag drops, one driver will win $100,000. Xfinity Series Racing from Dover coming up next. Xfinity Series racing from Dover International Speedway. It is about 68 degrees outside. The clouds have just parted and the sun is shining on the racetrack. Joey Logano is the guest driver analyst today, and along with Michael Waltrip, they have a very special bond with this place. Back in 1988, in only his 4th start, Michael won his very first career Xfinity Series race. One of 2 wins at this track. Very cool day. And then you flash forward 20 years, and it was 1 week after his 18th birthday. Joey Logano made his NASCAR debut here. He finished 6th, but went on to win 4 times here at Dover. So Joey Logano calling today's race with Adam Alexander and Michael Waltrip. Joseph, keep them in line today.
I don't know if I can, but I'll try my best.
Not a chance. I can't believe it's been 9 years ago since you made your series debut. And you told me earlier, this place is tough. What's the level of aggression when we go green?
Well, first off, I can't believe it was 20 years after his first win.
Yes, how I feel.
But it is one of those places that you got to go on the front side of this run hard because it's going to be challenging to pass as the run keeps going. So you're going to have to be aggressive to start, but you also got to save your stuff a little bit. It's one of those places that if you keep burning up one end of your car, maybe the front or the rear tires, the car will keep building that way, and eventually you'll start losing your long run speed. So it's going to be a balance of how hard to push it to get those cars on the restarts, but also make sure you have something for the end.
What do you think about this groove, Joey? I think we saw it really widen out in the truck race last night, and when you're talking about burning your tires off, guys running on the bottom, you got to move around and run where they're not.
It's the only way you're going to pass somebody, and the good thing is that sun just popped out, and that's something that's going to widen the track out. The cars are going to start slipping and sliding more, track will rubber up more, so that's all good things.
We just heard it there in the piece. Michael, one of 13 drivers to get their first career victory at Dover. Could we see it here today? 4 drivers in the top 10 that have never won.
Well, they're going to have their work cut out for them. Kyle Larson's car has won everything. He's just got so much speed, but I like the strategy that can be played around these stages. We're liable to see these crew chiefs pull a move on that crew.
And the last 4 races here, won by a series regular. We'd love to see that trend continue here today. Right now, we're going trackside to get the command of fire engines.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Jay Levine, CEO, One Main Financial.
Race fans, pump it up. Drivers, start your engines!
They have fired the engine in a place we call the Monster Mile. Will he live up to his nickname here today? We'll find out next. Now we're gearing up.
Hey race fans, Brandon Jones here, driver of the number 33. We've got some honorary pit crew members with us this weekend from the Air Force Base here in Dover. We're excited to have you guys out, and we salute you guys. Thanks for coming.
Well, qualifying went pretty well, and I'm excited to go after this Dash for Cash in a little bit. Thank you to Xfinity for putting this on. It's going to be a lot of fun today.